What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Sports Card Madness. I'm Nick. I'm here with LZ. We are coming fresh and hot off the National. We are going to share with you, we've actually got 5 things that surprised LZ about the National. We've got 5 things he learned, and then we've got a couple of huge make or break tips for next year's National. LZ, welcome back to Massachusetts. How was your
Oh,
experience at the show?
man. Oh, the experience was amazing, Nick. I mean, we're very fortunate that we had the opportunity we did last week,
Mm.
this show. W- Thanks to the leadership at the National, thanks to Ludex, thanks to a few others, like we had the ability to really get behind the scenes.
Right.
And we'll get into that. So
Mhm.
I know that this perspective that we're going to give and some of these tips and top lists that we're going to go over tonight or today are going to be they're going to be good for the audience. So I want to get right into it. It was a wild ride. I'm
Mhm.
exhausted. I'm sure everybody who went was exhausted. I'm sure you're exhausted. I want to give you a shout out because Nick was just like a producing wizard last week
I
during the
did all the
national.
just for the audience. I didn't know how to do any of this a year ago. And I'm
Yeah.
editing like a 30-minute video every day. I'm literally creating my own music in GarageBand for the videos on the fly.
Yeah,
It was
and your
wild.
son
And yeah,
and
my
Gavin.
9-year-old son, he's doing
Shout
like
out to
techno
Gavin.
music.
It's so cool. But
Anyway,
no, honestly, I mean, we were pumping so much content. Me and Tyler were to you, and you were just nailing it all week. So
we got a lot of
congrats.
great feedback that we couldn't be at the national, but thanks to your channel, like we
Hmm.
really were kind of glued to it and had it on in the background, which was exactly the plan.
Yep. Yep.
Awesome. All right,
Hmm.
LZ, we're going to kick this off. So let's start with the 5 things that you learned when you were at the National. And just for the
Oh,
audience, real quick, we had press passes. So we were behind the scenes, literally like 2 feet from everybody from athletes to Michael Rubin. So let's hear him.
all right. All right. The first one was we had the opportunity, and actually, this isn't has nothing to do with having a press pass.
Sure.
So anybody who uses PSA to slab, get on the set registry. Make sure you fill that out. Because I was on the set registry, and so is Nick. We got invited to a very special award ceremony for the set registry for PSA. And we documented that. We had a special video on that one. So make sure you tune into that. I wasn't prepared to like make content for this, but um I think the first thing I learned was that PSA does a really good job of making their customers feel special at the national.
Mm.
With this award ceremony, it was really, really nice. And again, if you're on the registry, there's a good chance you'll get invited. It has nothing to do with the show that we got invited. It's because we're ranked at a certain rank on the set registry.
Check your
Um,
emails because
yeah.
Nick here got invited. I wasn't at the National, I was back here
Mhm.
editing, but I totally deleted the email. And it
You
was like
did.
a nice VIP
Mhm.
invite. Dominique Wilkins was there. Like I would have been really pissed if I went and didn't read the email. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So when we were there, they actually did a nice job of showcasing like the future of PSA to these 300 people that were in the room. And they had this great, it was a quick video. It was only like 45 seconds, but it showed like they are going to revamp their website, like completely revamp it.
right.
Like, and they've already done a good job of it recently with when you enter a card in, it kind of automatically filters and it helps you find whatever you're looking for better when you're submitting. But stay tuned
Mm-hmm.
because they're revamping the whole thing. It looks so much better. The website's going to be really polished and nice. I don't remember if they gave a date, but definitely look forward to that. So
Okay. All
that
right.
was number
So
one.
be part of the PSA set registry because if you're high enough up, you could get an invite to a pretty awesome dinner that had Dominic Wilkins and you didn't mention it, a $5 million set just chilling. Nat Turner's
Oh yeah.
private precious
Hmm.
metal gem green set,
Hmm.
like just bonkers. Just you could like look at it. We got that on the episode. I'll link it
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
description.
we
So yeah.
do. It was
All right.
really special. I mean, the other thing too is they gave away some special cards to all the people who attended as
Mm,
well that they slabbed. So like these cards, there's only 300 of them in the world, and they're slabbed and they're beautiful. And I'm sure some people have already thrown them on eBay, so maybe you can find them. Just look for
Right.
set registry cards, ceremony cards, or something. But
All right,
all right, so
cool.
that's
That's
number
number
one, the
one.
website. All right, number two, we did have a chance to meet with Gary V, and we did
Mm,
ask him. And first, this is going to be a 2A, 2B for Gary V. First, I was shocked by how busy and how popular the V Friends uh, booth was. It was crazy the entire week.
mm.
So pay attention to V Friends. It's a trading card game similar to like Pokemon. Pokemon are very expensive. If you want to get on the ground floor with a new trading card game, I might be looking at V Friends
Interesting.
because it was busy the entire all 5 days, Nick. There was never a dull moment
But did they
over at
care
that
about the
booth.
cards or Gary V?
No, they cared about the cards. They were
All right.
breaking, people were screaming and yeah, they're yelling and things. Um, yeah, so pay attention to that.
All
Pay
right.
attention to V Friends. And kind of the 2B of that is we did talk with Gary V, and he is really pushing for AI grading,
Yeah.
which I didn't even get the words out of my mouth when I asked him. All I said was innovation, and he immediately interrupted me and said AI grading. And
Right.
that's all it took. So pay attention to that. Maybe he's getting into that. He would be one of the people in the space that I think could kind of tackle this problem. So
Yeah, there's a
look
couple
into that.
companies that I can't mention the names, but I've heard a couple that are actually working on an AI grading component of it, almost like how we're all cyborgs with our phones. Everything will have a human and a computational element to it. So, it just makes sense. Like if you've got a tennis match and the ball's out of bounds, what does the ref do? They look at a computer to see if it's in bounds.
Mhm.
It's not a stretch to see if it can look for centering. I get that some of this, is going to be tough to pull off with a computer, but something like centering and surface definitely can be. So, all
Mhm.
right, that's number two. Awesome.
All right, number two. Number three is non-sports and pop culture just in general.
Mm,
All the big booths. We talked a lot about heritage. We gave heritage a lot a lot of time because the booth was just so amazing. But when I looked really at so many of the tables, even the regular sellers, there was a lot outside of trading cards. A lot of sports memorabilia. There was beautiful bats, beautiful used baseball gloves, lots of comic books. We actually featured a vendor who was doing comics.
mm,
Um, but on the heritage side, again, just beautiful pop culture movie memorabilia. I ran into somebody who bought an old diary from like Japan in the 1950s that had these famous Japanese baseball players. And it was this beautiful leather bound diary. And that is just like so far away from
yeah,
trading cards, but it's like, man. And he was telling me about it. These were like some of the most famous Japanese baseball players of like all time. And they had signed their signatures in this diary.
that's
So
cool.
again, there was just lots of that. And the thing I want to stress there is the National is more approachable than you all think. Yes, it's a massive show and it's a little intimidating because it's so big, but it's not just sports. Like if you go there, you will find something that interests you.
Yeah.
You absolutely will.
As long as you're not like a weirdo that doesn't like music and movies and stuff. I mean, they had a hoverboard signed by Marty McFly.
They
It was
did.
like so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dorothy's ruby red slippers, the hat. Like, I mean,
Power
obviously
Rangers.
some of that is to get looks and get you
Mm-hmm.
to stop, but pop culture is a thing, and we all like pop culture in some way, and I imagine we all collect something. Like I know personally I have like Goonies and Stranger Things
Mm-hmm.
stuff and music. So it's just, I don't know, I guess you're right. Number three is sort of a lesson to broaden your horizons a little bit.
Yeah, broaden your horizons. And just a teaser, we did talk to somebody at the show who is really into the music grading industry.
Mm,
And at some point, we will have him on to talk about that. So that is going to become a big thing. So yes, pay attention
okay,
to that, which
awesome.
excites me because I love music, right? I would love to really dive into the music collectible space a lot more. So, all right, so that's number three. Number four is one that dropped. I think it was on the last day, and we've already had a couple episodes about it, but it was big news kind of, I think it was the last night and then the last day was Burbank
Oh,
moving over to the Fanatics marketplace. And I know we've kind of talked a lot about this. We've had a couple shows, but that was big news. That was
yeah,
big
it's
news.
huge. It's
And
huge.
there's going to be it'd be interesting to see what the ripple effect of that is with I think what is it, Nick? 40 million cards moving over to Fanatics.
It's a big
And I
stone falling into a big river.
Yeah. And I think the interesting thing there is, and Rob talked about it on our show, is the exposure that Fanatics is going to be able to give people, especially Rob, because he's going to be the first one at Burbank to do this.
Mm.
Uh, the example of you're on the Celtics NBA website and you're buying a jersey and then you get offered a Tatum card or what have you. So that was kind of a big news, big
Yeah.
learnings that came out. All right, so that's number 4. The last one, where there is smoke, there is fire. We got the opportunity to interview Michael Rubin, CEO
Mhm.
of Fanatics, and we asked him about innovation. I wanted to know kind of what he thought some opportunities were in the space, and talked about inventory. He talked about uh, how hard it is to actually even grade and buy and sell, and where to make that easier for people and make it more approachable. But he talked a lot about how he does not like any of the slabs on the market today.
Right away.
And
I don't like
where
the
there is
slabs.
smoke, there is fire, everybody. If he's saying he doesn't like that, he's either sniffing around looking at some slabbing companies, or who knows, maybe he'll do his own.
He said two
So,
things that struck me in that very brief interview. Number
mhm,
one, the onboarding process is complicated for a collector. Holy crap, he's right. You
mhm,
just remember all the stuff me and you went through a few years ago. I'm sending stuff to PSA and just authenticating and not even thinking of grades. Just how do I even send something to JSA for stick? Like it is complicated. You think
yeah,
the average person who like has some baseball cards in the attic knows about like the PSA set registry? Like they have no idea. So there it's funny. You could almost have like an onboarding process like companies have for their new hires. You are a collector. Here you go. And whoever could
yes,
own that. I mean, geez, we could even do it on this channel.
we
You could
could.
just own
Hmm.
that like path to make things easier. Maybe we'll create a playlist for that. That was one that really struck me. And then the other was displaying your expensive stuff. He's right. Most of our expensive, nice stuff is sitting
Is
in
in a
safes
case.
and vaults. Like
Yeah.
Marshall Fogel, right? He's got like a $25 million PSA 10 mantle. The poor guy, he can't have that out on his desk. That sucks, you know? And what he has instead is an 8.5 by 11, like blown up, really nice portrait of it. So he can like, glance at it. But
Hmm.
maybe there's a cool way other than, I don't think digital is the answer, but I don't know. Maybe there's a
I
cool,
think digital could be the answer, Nick.
yeah. All right.
I kind of do. And I know you and I have talked about this offline. I do wonder if NFTs makes a comeback and you could almost NFT your own collectibles and turn them digital and share them on a nice video screen in your living room or in your man town room, or what
Yeah.
have you.
They
Maybe
don't
maybe
have to
there's
be
something there.
NFTs to do that. They could
No, they
just be a
don't.
photo.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
Because
Um,
NFTs, that's a whole nother can of worms.
yeah, yeah, true. All right,
All right,
so
cool. So those are the
that
things that you've
yeah,
learned, the
yep.
five things.
Those are the top 5 things at least that stood out to me.
All right, so we're going to do the five surprises now, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Number 1 I want to talk about is I was surprised by how busy TriStar was. The TriStar Autograph Pavilion. Wow. That is an experience. I've been to a couple local shows. I'm used to like standing in line in front of a table, and but TriStar they they brought it. They absolutely brought it. And you saw it with some of our videos, just the the tier of athletes that they're able to bring in, and those athletes like giving each and every person who comes up to the table some time and talks to them and shakes their hand and
Right.
signs their autograph. But just the lines were huge. Such a popular area of the show. Um, I think there's a lot of opportunity to even just make that side of the building, because it's usually, I'm sure, in a corner of these shows. We'll see next year when we go to Chicago. But I think you could do a lot more in that space with having all those athletes there. And It was just incredible. So
Yeah.
next, when you go to the show, make sure you're going checking out the TriStar Autograph Pavilion for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. All
All
right. So
right. Number
that's
two.
number one. Number two. This isn't really a surprise, but it stood out to me as a really interesting um I guess you'd call it like a way of pulling people into your booth. So CGC, they just bought JSA. They have these new slabs for cards. And every one of these big booths is running some sort of contest to try to get you to them. Like, I don't know, there's like a dart board and you throw darts at the wall and you can win something, or there's a basketball hoop and you got to take a shot, or whatever it is. Every booth has one of these. CGC actually gave us blank slabbed cards. I think it was like a dozen.
So
And they
no label
no
inside.
no label, but they're
Okay.
slabbed with no label on them. And we had to go like in a corner and they gave us like special lights and we had to grade the cards. And you had to write down, all right, so for card number one, I think this is the 8.5. For card number two, I think this is a 7. For card number three, I think this is a 10.
That's cool.
And then at the end,
You do that on your Instagram all the time, man.
and I'm complaining about
Guess the
them.
grade.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
should have been great at this.
I taught. No, I was terrible at it, Nick. I was terrible. I thought I was going to do so well. I'm going to say that I graded harder. I think I graded harder than
Okay.
everybody.
Sure.
I'll go with that. That'll help me sleep at night by
All
thinking
right.
thinking that way. But that was a really cool experience. Like,
Mm.
all right, everybody, you all complain about grading. Get over here and grade these cards, and whoever does the best is going to win something. So I thought that was kind of cool. Just that type of experience was really neat. All right. The third one was, I talked about it already today. The Heritage booth blew everybody away. It just did.
Mm.
It just did. Kudos to you, Heritage. Like, what they had there. I mean, they had all 4 bases from the field when Hank Aaron hit his record-breaking home run ball. Like,
Okay.
come on. It was so cool, right? They had $4 million like Babe Ruth bats and Mickey Mantle bats and just incredible cards. But then on the pop culture side, like they had original comic books like Superman and Batman. Just like there was so much security around there too. They had the Power Ranger guys that we talked a lot about.
I thought you were about to say they had the Power Rangers on security duty. That would have been
Well, that would have been. Yeah, there we
you
go.
can put some people in the suits.
Yeah. Yeah, but they definitely made a name for themselves just in general with
Yeah.
everything they had at that booth. And you already mentioned those ruby red slippers and the witch hat from
Mm.
Wizard of Oz. I mean, it was just
I was surprised by
just
the
incredible.
level of memorabilia that they had on display. I
Yeah,
didn't
there's a
think that they
lot.
would just have these filthy cool like things out.
Yeah.
And the Power Rangers that came out of nowhere, and it's just the target audience is perfect, right? You're like,
Mhm.
whoa, and it's huge and they stand out. And it was
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome from afar. Can only imagine in person.
Yeah. Yeah, it was wild. All right. Next one. I can't not include the Michael Jordan rookie cards, the 1010s at PSA. Again, we were very fortunate. We got to go in. I mean, this is what we're able to give back to our audience with these press passes. We were able to get in early, so we went over to PSA, and we were there like alone in this space with these cards, and it was just beautiful. We had some really good videos for everybody, so make sure you pay attention to that. But they were incredible looking cards. I mean, yeah, I mean, would I have chosen a thinner Sharpie? Yes, we all would have. And I know there's tons of feedback around that. But PSA actually in their magazine this month had a good story about it, and Jordan's team actually chose
Yeah.
that thick Sharpie. So if you're sitting down with Michael Jordan, he says, "No, I want to use this thick Sharpie," you're going to say, "Sounds good. Sounds
So
good, MJ."
I didn't get the PSA magazine by the time the national happened, which is
Oh, okay.
interesting. So
Hmm.
I was completely surprised. I didn't know until you sent me the video to include on the channel.
Oh, really?
And I was like, what? They're just there? Like these cars we've been talking
Yeah.
about for 2 months? So I was completely blindsided,
Mm,
and I guess I just didn't like pay attention. I probably got alerted somehow, but so for me, I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. Probably
yeah.
the only time you'll ever see him.
Yeah. And shout out to the owner of these cards for letting PSA display them too.
Of
That was
course.
really, really nice of that owner to do that. I mean, that section was busy all week long. People were coming into that
Yeah.
thing and looking at
Yeah,
those
you had like
cards.
first crack at it, man. It was
I
awesome.
did. I did. Yeah, that was great. And I'm happy we were able to to share with the audience so early on that first day.
Right.
That one. All right. The last one was trade night.
Mm.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I was not expecting this at trade night. Trade night was not trade night. It was trade afternoon and trade night. People were coming down and setting up for trade night. I would say like 2 p.m. People were starting to come down and
Wow.
get ready and get their table set. And shout out to Ludex. They had a great lounge off of the trade night area. So we kind of used that as our home base. So we had a lot of visibility into trade night and we saw everything that was going on there. They had an awesome stage. They were doing giveaways. The energy was just madness during trade night. So kudos to the National and to everybody who planned kind of that area, that VIP section, um, because it was really really impressive, Nick.
The funny thing for me afar was I saw the cafeteria ever. It says, please respect this one area in the entire building and do not trade, buy, or sell cards. Literally in this like 20 by 20 area.
Yeah,
Disrespected immediately. Everybody was dealing cards and eating food at the same time. It's funny.
yeah, yeah. There's nothing they could do. There was nothing. I mean, we're talking like 5,000 people, like going down to trade night,
Yeah.
and it's just you couldn't do anything about it. But that was really really impressive, really was. Um, I don't know how next year will go with Chicago because one of the great things that really helped the trade night this year was it was in the Cleveland, the IX Center, which is kind of far away from the city. So if you were there, you didn't want to necessarily leave and come back. So it really helped the National kind of having, and kudos to them for like making another experience to keep people there and keep them trading and keep them talking and networking and what have you. So it was awesome. It was really good. So
Okay.
those are five. I think we're good, right?
Yeah, that's it. All right. Five
All
things
right.
you learned, five things that surprised you.
Mm,
Now we got a little bonus section here. We've got some advice based on your experience. This was your first national,
mhm.
like things that could make or break the national next year if you don't do them.
Yeah. And I do want to tease one thing at the end. I have a kind of a cool story at the end. So
All
hang
right.
on, everybody, until we get through this list. I learned something on the last day that I thought was kind of interesting about the National. All right. You must get a VIP pass. And I know they only give out a few, everybody. So as soon as the National goes on sale, the VIP pass is worth it. It
Mm.
absolutely is. Um, the IX Conference Center, like they actually did a good job of like spacing it out. It didn't feel that tight, but it was warm out up there, right? It was a little tight compared to what you shopping at the mall, right?
Yeah.
Having the ability to go down to the VIP lounge, to go to that trade night section. There were separate food vendors down there, smaller lines, separate bathrooms down there, smaller lines. Much easier to kind of connect and network with people in the VIP area. It is well worth it. So I'll say if you can afford it, definitely, definitely do the VIP area. And if you have the option, and this is a difficult one to have, but if you have the option, like we gave away a few passes. So next
Right.
year, watch us, everybody.
Yeah.
If you have the option to get into the VIP lounge, which is sponsored by Ludex, jump on that thing for sure. Because like I said, trade night got kind of crazy and having that extra room that was a little quieter, a little cooler, the AC was cranking in that place.
Nice
It's worth it.
couches. Yeah,
It's worth it.
you looked comfy.
I
So,
did. Yeah, it was nice.
all
It
right.
was nice.
That's good
All right.
advice. Get a VIP pass.
Yep, that was one. Number two, you just don't know until you've experienced it. So I'm going to try to help people with this one. You got to have a list. And I had a list, but you got to have a better list than I had going into the show. What are the cards that you're looking for? I would even say, like, for instance, I'm a set builder, right? We talk about some of the sets that I built. So my list had everything I'm looking for in each one of these sets. But then there were other cards that I know that I'm interested in, but I wasn't prepared to purchase them and make an offer on these cards because I didn't know what they were worth. I didn't know if this is a good price. So I would say put together like your lists of like a list of definites. Like you definitely want to chase down these 10 cards.
Mm.
And then also have a list to the side of like things you're interested in. Like, for instance, I had a little bit of a FOMO towards the end around like, shoot, here's a great opportunity to buy some like Jackie Robinson cards. I've always wanted to pick up some like, but crap, I don't know which one I should buy. Like, which one of these is the best? Which one's a good value? So definitely add that to your list on
Right.
these are my definites, and these are almost like like almost your needs versus your wants, and put that on your list because I wasn't prepared
Yeah.
to jump down the Jackie Robinson hole because I just didn't prepare myself enough. So add that to your list.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Next one, you're not going to get to everything. It's similar to if you're fortunate enough to travel to Disney World. You cannot hit it all in one day. You can't. So use that interactive map. LetX put one out this year. Hopefully they'll put out one next year. I'm sure somebody will. Come with a strategy on what you want to hit. You could spend half a day just at the TriStar Autograph Pavilion.
Oh yeah.
You could spend another half a day walking through the Breakers area too, like the Whatnot area. Like there was a lot of fun things happening over there. So definitely put together a strategy on, all right, the first day I'm going to hit up all the tables. The second day I'm going to go have fun in the Breakers area because there's a lot of cool things to do over there. The third day I'm going to go get my autographs, and then so on and so on and so on. Because I went in a little eyes wide shut. Is that what you say, Nick? Where basically
Bright-eyed
what was
and
going on.
bushy-tailed.
Yeah, there we go. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I didn't know what was going on. So definitely you got to have a plan. You have to just to get the most out of it, right?
Yeah. It's common
Yeah.
sense. So there's different, personality types. If you're not a planner, and you like to just kind of live free and not really care about schedules, this might not be the best place for that. Just try look at an agenda just once, get like a little bit of a schedule and just prioritize just a tiny bit,
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And next year, I guess like lessons learned on things we want to do better for the audience next year, Nick.
Right.
I do want to really work very closely with the national team to get an agenda ahead of time that we can feed to the audience.
Yeah.
That's one thing that we talked about and we tried to chase it down, but I just didn't put enough effort into making sure that I got that thing. So we'll have that for the audience next year.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do have a story, which I thought was kind of interesting.
We'll close it down with a story.
Yeah, we'll close it down with this. I know that there was a lot of chatter around the traffic and the traffic issues that were going on at the IX Center. And let me just preface it by saying there was 100,000 people at this show. 100,000 people are going to cause traffic. But the cool part of that is the mayor of Cleveland got involved in this show. The first day, the IX Center was actually charging for parking, and it was causing a major traffic jam. And the way the IX Center is, it's like literally right off of the highway. So the traffic, it was causing traffic on the major highway. Well, the mayor stepped in, called the IX Center, and said, you need to stop this, stop charging people, stop taking money. You just need to let everybody in. And I think everyone really kind of only like had things to say about that first day because traffic was tough. But for everybody who attended, I think you'll probably notice that every day it got a little better and better. And you can thank the mayor of Cleveland for helping out in that respect.
It almost looked like I don't know, like a Deadhead concert. Like people were just kind of like partying like on the side of the highway because they knew they weren't going anywhere for a
Hmm.
while. But you're right, it was the first couple of days just from afar. It seemed like there were less complaints the last few days. So
Yep.
kudos to the mayor, who's clearly an operational guy and
Yeah.
saw that this process included, 2 minutes of paying, and once you wipe that out, boom, the machine moves a little faster.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
excellent. That's great. I do want to say we did our best to cover this, from afar. But in the comments, if you watched what we did, just let us know what you enjoyed the most and what you think we missed and whiffed on, because we'll both be at the national next year. I want to make sure if there's like a big area that we missed, I want to make sure I hit that, or something that a different way you want to see things. Just let us know.
Yeah, please, please do, because we want this to get better and better every year, right?
Cool. Yeah.
For all of you. Yeah.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, next year will be great. LZ and I are coming up with some plans for a little private party for past guests and maybe a couple other people. We
Hmm.
won't share any other details yet, but it should be fun.
All
Excellent.
right.
All right, is that it? Is that all you got from the show?
That's it. Well, I could ramble on and on and on, but I'm not going to, Nick. It was just a great show. I hope everybody enjoyed our content. We're going to get better. If you have the opportunity, please go. It's in Chicago next year, everybody. So it's a
Boom.
great city to go visit.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
everyone. Thanks, LZ.
Bye, everybody.